Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this video, but I'm still going to do it anyways. Today, we're going to talk about why prime scrolls are overrated. Mainly, we're going to be covering the prime scrolls for armor. And obviously, if you know me and how I view things, the way I see the other prime scrolls, such as for accessories and for one-hand, two-hand weapon attack, are basically more savage than my stance on the prime scrolls for armor. And the reason is I think the other prime scrolls are just way overpriced and the amount of gain is not worth it. So for the weapon attack ones, you can basically trace it for literally one attack less, which isn't going to kill you, but it takes so much more to prime. And for the accessory scrolls, you can easily replace it with the premium accessory scrolls, which come out for 1 bill every other event at this point. So I'm not even going to cover them, but I do want to give a somewhat of a mini precursor to why I'm talking about armor explicitly and not talking about the other two. So let's get right into it. So for a 30% armor trace, for me, it's strength. So for a 30% strength scroll, you get plus 7 strength, some HP, and some defense. For some armor prime stats, we have the 40% chance. So let's assume 50, assuming the diligence and everything else works on prime scrolls as well, but I've heard that it doesn't. But we'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say it's 50%, even though it isn't. It's more so 40%. And there's a chance to destroy item on failure. There is basically a 10 all stat, strength, int, dex. So basically 3 strength more, int more, dex more, luck more, whatever your class is from prime scrolls as opposed to tracing. And this is based on the bear market, and essentially this is the scroll cost for armors. So as you can see, right now it's actually during Marvel. So these are actually Marvel prices. Marvel happened, I think, 2 days ago. So we're still in the Marvel season, if you want to call it. And as you can see right here, most of the prime scrolls are selling for 3.8 to 4 bill per scroll. And for the cash scroll cost, now I did mention in the previous screenshot with the whole prime scroll for armor, there is a boom chance, which means there is a 30% chance that your weapon or armor or whatever else that you use prime scrolls on will be destroyed on failure. So you definitely need something called a shielding scroll, which basically protects your weapon, equipment, and whatever else from being destroyed by the scroll upon failure. So this is absolutely necessary unless you just want to YOLO it and YOLO the first slot or whatever, but you know, for our intents and purposes, it's necessary. And then we have Guardian Scroll, which basically protects the scroll. So if the scroll fails, so let's say I use a armor scroll on the item and the scroll fails, normally the scroll will disappear and vanish. And with the Guardian Scroll, it basically protects the scroll from vanishing upon failure, but if it passes, it'll still vanish from your inventory. And for a scroll as expensive as 4 bill, you definitely want to use a Guardian Scroll to protect it from vanishing if it does fail. So the 2 scrolls are absolutely necessary. Shielding Scroll for protecting your item upon destruction failure, and Guardian Scroll for protecting the scroll upon, again, scroll failure. Now let's go over the items that can be primed for the, I guess, armor primes. So we have hat, assuming, I think Absolab hats and CRA hats and Arcane hats all have the same amount of slots. CRA top and bottom definitely has 9, again with hammers and everything. Shoes, glove, cape, Arcane, Absolab, they're all 9 slots if I remember correctly. So 13, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, and this is essentially a total of 58 slots from all of the items that you see listed here. Feel free to fact check me on that, but it's probably right. So let's go with cost per attempt. So let's see what I've laid out here, right? So for cost per attempt, we have the armor prime scroll, which is 4 bill times 8 because the miso market rate, if you go to FM, it's 4 bill or 1 bill for 8k maple points, so we're just gonna, you know, do a little magic and say it's $32 because, you know, 4 bill times $8, so it's $32 worth, or 32k maple points worth for one armor prime. We have shield scroll, which I mentioned, the protection scroll, $5.5. You can also use reward points and wait till sale and yada yada yada, but we're just going off of the base price alone right now. And Guardian Scroll, again, is to protect the scroll from vanishing upon failure, $2.40. So just to make everything simple, we have everything laid out in dollars, and essentially the total is around $40, so $39.9 to be exact. Now we're going to talk about cost per success. Because cost per attempt and cost per success are completely different. In this case, it's a 40% scroll, so it's definitely not guaranteed to pass every single time, right? So because it's different, let's assume it's 50%. Let's say it'll pass 50% of the time. Again, we're giving benefit of the doubt here, right? So cost per success is the cost per attempt, which I mentioned before with the $39.9 plus another shield scroll, because you need another shield scroll if it fails before. So it's going to be $5.50 again, and then another Guardian Scroll, because, you know, if it fails, you're going to need another Guardian Scroll as well as a Shield Scroll. So we have a grand total of 47.8 for each slot success. So remember that number. It's okay if you don't, because I'll show you it later again, but just keep that in mind. It's going to be $47.80 per success, per scroll success. So then this is assuming that we pass half the time, which, because it's a 40% scroll, assuming diligence doesn't work, it might actually be more than this, but benefit of the doubt right now. So for the total cost for 58 successes, which is the 58 slots that we talked about, times the 47.8, which is the cost per success, we have a grand total of 2.7k, so $2,772.40 to prime every single item on our list. So the 6 items I mentioned, the hat, glove, and everything. So yeah, it's gonna take $2,772. Imagine that. Crazy, right? And then now we'll go into the total benefit of it. For the total benefit of the prime scrolls, we have 58 slots, as I mentioned before. You know, 58 slots times 3 stats. We have 174 stats. So essentially, out of the $2,000 something dollars we spent, we get only 174 stats. Now, obviously, we have to do a little comparison, a little overview of it. So of total stat gain versus the total cost, we have 58 slots times 3, again 174 stats, versus the amount that we spent for the successes and passing all those primes, assuming it's a 50% scroll, and that's a big assumption because we don't know if diligence works. And as of those assumptions, we have a grand total of $2,772.40. So let's call it 2.7k, just to simplify it. So think about that. 2.7k worth of investment for a mere 174 stat in your equips. Now, obviously, if you have high percentage stats, it's going to be not 174 stats in your stat window. For me, I think I put in the calculator, it was a bit over 1k stats, but you know, it's nothing life-changing, especially for the amount that we're investing in this. That's a crazy amount. 2.7k for 174 stats. I don't know how late of an end game you have to be to spend that much money for that minimal of gains. But, you know, you do you. But here is my take on it. Prime scrolls are not worth it. They're overrated. People are hyping them up saying, oh, these are the only scrolls we should be using for armor because tracing sucks. But it doesn't, because look at the gain that you're getting for the cost. Is it worth it? No, probably not. Not unless you're planning to spend a whole fortune and be the biggest whale in this game. But, you know, you do you. Again. For Xenons, I don't know. I would guess it's a similar situation, but it's a bit more tricky for you guys because you do need all stat. But for most other classes, you don't need prime scrolls. You really don't, unless you're just rich. But yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Hope you guys found it helpful. If you guys did, be sure to like the video to say you've enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because I put out new content every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.